Friends, the word vanity that we hear in the first reading refers to an excessive love of one's appearance. But that's not the sense that it actually is being used. It means not more the connection with pride as much as emptiness. It means emptiness. Emptiness of emptinesses, all is emptiness. That's what that first reading is talking about. So many things have this weightlessness about it that we have in this world. If you ever notice, even after a wedding reception, you'll come into the banquet hall when everyone's done, and it looked like just such a great time, and now it's all kind of a mess. People have left their tables. It was a good time, and now it's over. It's a representative scene of life. We occupy this body for a time, 70 years or 80 for those who are strong, as it says in Psalm 90 from today. We have such a short time on this earth. As a young priest, I've been with a lot of dying people, and I've done a lot of funerals. And my conversations with those who have been dying have been so enlightening to me as a young man. I've noticed more and more how short life really is, how fast it goes. And even in their 90s, people say how fast life has gone. And the psalm today says, Lord, make us know the shortness of our life, that we may gain wisdom of heart, that we may truly know what is worthwhile, what our life really consists of. True wealth is relationships. That's what's going to be around us at our deathbed, whatever that brings. And it's not going to be a time where we'll want to see our degrees or certain possessions we had stored up. I mean, imagine somebody on their deathbed saying, can you bring me my degree that I got from the University of St. Thomas? I'd surely like to see it again. Please, bring it to me. Or that watch I got several Christmases ago. I'd like to see that little psycho watch. No, they won't say those things. They'll be asking for forgiveness for those they've offended in their family or friends. They'll talk very genuinely, and their heart and mind will be laid bare before those around them. Our life does not consist in possessions. The emphasis Jesus puts on this is pretty big. Why do we store up so much? Well, some of it is prudent for our children to have some inheritance. But the bigger inheritance it is, the bigger battle it is after death that people have, they fight over it. That fight is in the ancient world as well. Jesus was prompted by this man, tell my brother to share the inheritance with me. Jesus is like, well, this is not what life is all about. And who am I to judge your case in the inheritance? You want to be rich in what matters to God. So, how do we approach material possessions? We don't want to just store them up, but we want to use them generously. That's not an easy thing because we don't know how to do that sometimes. So I had a friend in seminary. His family was very wealthy. They owned a mutual fund company, and he's the most detached guy from wealth I've ever met. And I've always admired him for it because he could have really whatever he wants. His inheritance is already in his bank account. He has this junky Ford Explorer, and he's at the one time I couldn't even get out of the car because the handle broke. I'm like looking at him like, Chris, what is going on here? And he's like, yeah, my family hates this car, but I love it. And he would give away things really quickly. His family even bought him these North Face backpacks one time. And he's just like, hey, you want some backpacks? I don't need them. I don't want them. Here, you want them? And he gave them to me, and I'm like, sure, thanks, man. Sweet. And he would do this often, and I always admired him for it, that generosity. Just take these things that are, worth a chunk of money, but he didn't attach himself to them, gave them right away. And I asked him, how do you do that? How are you so generous? And he said, well, I just ask God to give me opportunities to give things away. Lord, show me ways that I can share my possessions and give them away. What a good thing for our prayer life and how we approach possessions. And then we'll follow through on what matters most. We'll be able to concentrate more on what matters most. The more possessions we get, the more demands they place upon us. And we know this a little bit, right? But we want to concentrate and keep ourselves free from them, in a sense, interiorly, and be free for what matters to God. And what matters to God is a pure soul. A pure soul. Our families deserve parents. Our spouses deserve the other spouse to have a pure heart. This is why confession is so important, this side of heaven, so important, because it also allows us then, with a pure heart, to see God, which is the most important thing in the spiritual life. And it's not an easy thing. It truly is a battle. But with God's help, it is possible, and we must go forward trusting in Him stubbornly and hanging on to Him. Lord, show me ways I can be generous with my possessions. Give me opportunities to do that. And keep my heart free to serve you and to love those you have called me to love.